Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. So this episode is part 2 of a little series I'm doing. So if you haven't listened to Are You Making This Mistake part 1, please do go back and listen to that one before you listen to this one. And I'm not going to say any more about the episode. I'm excited about this series. And so let's just jump in. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice six-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Okay, so in the last episode, we talked about one of the mistakes being the entrepreneur versus employee mindset. Okay, so I gave you work around that, and I really gave you foundation kind of starter stuff around find, onboard, and retain clients without price as a priority. So making the assumption that you've listened to that one, I am actually recording this series, or I'm trying to record them all at once so that I keep my train of thought in order to give you the most value that I can. So let's continue with the things that you may be doing to hold you back, okay? Mistakes and misconceptions. So just like the last episode, I've got my mind map in front of me. I've got some notes in front of me with like a top 12 kind of mistakes, even though there are more, there's lots of little nuances. Running a successful practice that is building a thriving practice, delighting your clients and living your dream on your terms is definitely a jigsaw puzzle. Just like Deb that we had on the podcast a few weeks ago said, if you miss a step, it doesn't work. Okay. And that is more true at times than it is others. So for example, with business networking, I was in a forum on Facebook the other day and someone was asking, I really want to find new clients. How do I do that? And someone said business networking, and it broke my heart because business networking on the whole does not work at all for bookkeepers, okay? And it's because they don't know how to make it work. And in my program, the business networking module is one of the juiciest, and it's one of the ones where you can't miss a step. So you literally can't not miss a step. Whereas there are other parts of the program and parts of your bookkeeping practice where if you miss a step, you might still get the result. And the other thing I love to say to my tribe members in the program is learn the rules before you break them. So once you get really amazing at all the things that I teach you, then you get into this groove where podcast interruption. On the 22nd of March, the transformation program will change. So if you want to build a six-figure income as well as time wealth, now is the time to join. Our currency will move exclusively to US dollars, meaning it will be $99 per week US dollars. Foundation member specials will completely finish, okay? And Evergreen will finish too, meaning the doors will close and I will only open the doors 3 times a year, okay? So 3 big changes. So back yourself and go for it, and you can find out more by listening to episode 47. You get into this groove where you can tend to break the rules and still get the result. And I actually learnt that phrase in dancing from some amazing dancers in Melbourne. They're really passionate with dancers about learn the rules before you break them, because when you see advanced dancers or advanced Latin dancers like myself, we look like we're breaking all the rules of frame and tension and all these other things, right? And the basic step. But if you were to look very closely, the foundation of our house is rock solid. Yeah, I love this. Learn the rules before you break them. So I am all about breaking the rules, but I am a long time in and the creator of all of these systems. I do tend to say I love making rules, but I don't always like following them. But I digress. So the next mistake that I see bookkeepers making, and yet again, I'm going to relate it to how I work and how the tribe works so you can really put it into context, yeah? And it's focusing on quantity rather than quality of clients. In the mind map that I gave you last week in the show notes, over on the left-hand side, it's called Work Smarter, Not Harder, Less Clients, More Revenue and Profit, okay? So to rinse and repeat, that's focusing on quantity rather than quality. What you need to do is focus on quality rather than quantity. So what did I do in the early days in my fuck up years? Well, I focused on just bringing on heaps of new clients. Yay. And I definitely had that whole math equation as a pricing strategy. Even when I moved to fixed pricing, again, it's still a math equation. Value pricing is usually the same. Nobody really knows what it means. We're all just pretending we do. And if you don't fully understand outcome billing, put your hand up. Say, what the hell are you saying, Jeannie? Okay, send me an email. Put your hand up in my private Facebook group. This is a safe space to have open hearts and open minds and to be vulnerable. Okay, I'm showing up for bookkeepers. Okay, so let's dive into that one a little more and then see if we've got time to do some more. So this one is reasonably simple, right? And it is almost one of those things where sometimes when things are pointed out to me, even in life, like one of my 1-inch friends, which if you listened to last week, you'll know what that's all about. One of my 1-inch friends, we both have special needs child, same age, same condition. And I really admire him as a dad. And he was kind of gently reminding me of some things I could be doing as a mum. And they were so obvious, and I knew them, but just because something's obvious, just because even we know it, doesn't mean we're doing it or getting it right, etc. And so with the, quality over quantity, it's kind of like, oh, well, duh, that kind of seems obvious. And I know that's what I need to do, but are we always doing it? Yeah. So I'm going to give you an example. I'll combine what the tribe does with what I do because it's pretty much the same. The only difference is that sometimes I'm doing it more and bigger and encouraging the tribe to step up again and again and again. Okay. So when a PC knocks on the door, the whole, work smarter, not harder, it's about the opportunity that exists with that prospective client. And oftentimes with the employee mindset and a poor pricing system and no real productized services and no real competitive advantage and no understanding of the 3 parts of the buying decision being relationship, convenience, and price, what we do is we say to that PC, oh, hi, what do you need? And they tell us what they need. And let's say they just, I just want you to do my something quarterly and it's going to take you an hour or so, and you think, well, I'm going to charge $170 for that because it's only an hour and a quarter, and look at me, I'm charging $170 an hour. You're working harder, not smarter, because you're not being process driven from the beginning. So what my tribe members and I do, so when someone knocks on the door, first of all, when they knock on the door, they've had the ability usually to spend time in the customer journey, immersing themselves in our brand, building relationship. Okay, so remember relationship, convenience, and price. So in the customer journey, which I've done a podcast on, they have had time to get to know, like, and trust us. So by the time they knock on the door, they are primed to buy without price as priority. They've seen and felt our value, and they absolutely have stacked us as having a competitive advantage as compared to anyone else, okay? And so then we go about doing a structured needs analysis where we ask them to tell us about themselves. And that needs analysis is free and takes between 5 and 15 minutes, at which time we assist them to further deepen their relationship with us by serving up a video sales letter off the back of $1 million storybook brochure, okay, which not only does that stack our competitive advantage and overcome the 2 major objections that exist to actually pressing go, Yeah. So that allows the prospective client or the client, if they're already a client upgrading, to absolutely choose us, even if we're twice as much as everyone else. And that's exactly what happens in my practice and exactly what's happened with the tribe. Okay. I've got tribe members who are quite a lot going back to their existing database and doubling their fees. But to be crystal clear, they are using my processes and collateral to do so. And they're getting zero pushback, and 100% of the clients are saying that's fine and actually upgrading into the succession advisory services that I talk about in my book. Okay. So how does that relate to working smarter rather than harder? Well, just for example, one of the tribe members in my group, let's call her Jan. So she will, with her existing database, make $85,000 more profit a year, okay, just through the work she's doing with those clients to get them to level up into paying her what she's worth, okay? Another example is where I literally mine the data. So I'll get tribe members. So let's call one of them Ashley, and she will say, okay, because everybody's in the Facebook group sharing their wins, and then I get to really deeply understand it, and I understand what would have happened before they joined the program and what would have happened after, okay? And this is just to help you with the mistake that you could be making around focusing on quantity rather than quality. So I'll get my beautiful bookkeepers like Ashley tell me, I just onboarded this client and they've picked up services of, say, $10,000 a year. And then I'll say, right, before the program, what would they have done? Okay, they would have spent, say, $4,000. So you've been able to onboard this client for $6,000 more, so $10,000 than you would have before when you were making this mistake of working harder rather than smarter, of focusing on quantity over quality. Okay, so, and I could tell you a million stories, but those stories are just to help you to see, okay, what are you doing right now? What do you need to be doing? Okay, well, you need minimum charge out rates. You need the entire process that I just talked about. Yeah, you need what's in the mind map. Okay, so now it's for you to think about this quality over quantity piece. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen if you cannot convey a really strong, solid competitive advantage. And being a great technician and being cheap is not a competitive advantage. If you're cheap and getting busy, well, it's because you're cheap and you're going to end up like one of my tribe members where she said to me, Jeannie, I'm making no profit. And I knew she was making no profit. It's a math equation. I'm like, how can she be making profit? Okay, so we did a hot seat. And now she's going to knock it out of the ballpark. That's all fine. 100% of her clients are saying yes, yes, yes to 100% price rise and advisory services, okay? But there is a magic that happens in the process. So I'm going to tell you right now that as at today, it is the 27th of February when I'm recording this podcast because I'm doing the series all at once for you. So the 27th of February, 2024, because you might be listening to this in a year or 2 years or 3 years. But as at today, I can tell you right now, when a PC knocks on the door, so this is even if they were a DIY client, they're doing all their own bookkeeping, and all they need you to do is lodge their compliance. Yeah, you know, you get those clients that say that. Please make sure you are charging them out a minimum of $260 a month, okay, for that service. Yeah. Now, are we charging for hours or outcomes? Yeah. When I talk about build a thriving practice, delight your clients, live your dream on your terms, to be successful in your bookkeeping practice, to be successful in business, you first need a smart strategic pricing strategy and productized services that includes minimum charge out fees, yeah, and the ability to give your clients outcomes rather than time for money, because time for money is employee, not business, okay? So I'm going to give you that information. Okay, never, ever, ever in Australia, and it could be more in other countries. I serve bookkeepers all over the world. I've got clients all over the world. But just talking to Australia, never, ever, ever from today onwards should you ever serve a client for less than $260 a month as at today. And our fees go up for this all the time. Now that, my friends, is a recurring client. In my practice, and what I encourage my tribe to do is for one-off work, I wouldn't touch anything for less than $1,200. I mean, if it was 30 minutes work and it's a one-off job, it's $1,200. Why? Well, if I don't have a smart strategic pricing strategy, productized service, minimum charge out rates, and understanding of what it looks like to run a successful business or practice, I'm not going to be in business for very long. Or if I am, I'm going to be miserable and stressed and wishing that I could just press reverse in the car. Yeah. So build the thriving practice first. That's how you'll show up to delight your clients and get the privilege of living your dream on your terms. Okay. So are you making the mistake of not kind of having everything you need ready in the background in order to maximize the opportunity that exists when a prospective client knocks on the door? And let me tell you right now, my clients have shrines to me in their house. I give them extraordinary outcomes. Okay. I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but your ability to charge appropriate rates, yeah, and charge rates for outcomes rather than hours, yeah, and to maximize the opportunity is key to getting incredible results for your clients. Trust me now, believe me later. If your head is saying to yourself, that's overcharging, I'm going to rip people off, you are deep in employee mindset. Yeah, that is not happening to me. That is not happening to the members of my tribe. Yeah. And if you're going to be a business owner, you have to learn how to run a successful business. Okay. And I'm giving you that information now. So it's over to you to think about whether you are making that mistake of not being ready to work incredibly smart. Okay, incredibly smart. We also, and the tribe members also bundle and sell intellectual property. Okay, in the graduate club that's coming after August 1, 2024, there is going to be so much on the menu in the Strategic Bookkeeper to help my graduates, my amazing bookkeepers, continue to level up into selling intellectual property, courses, resources that allow them to earn $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 an hour. Yeah. So how's that for an ideology shift? And have clients such raving fans that I know personally, I have had bookkeepers in the transformation program leave me voice messages crying because they are so massively impacted personally and professionally by the outcomes that I get for them. Okay. It is about outcomes. It is about outcomes. It is about outcomes. Okay. So in terms of the action that you're going to take around if you are, onboarding clients without all the pieces of the puzzle in place, I think the action that you've really got to take is either listen to this podcast again, listen to the one from last week, which is part 1 of the series, use my book, use my podcast, use my free trainings. But the other option is to come into the program and have it all done for you. Okay. I'm not going to harp on about that. My job is to give you information to help you self-assess coming into the program. Okay. So I am going to leave the next mistake or misconception for the next episode, and I will see you then. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.